Everybody, welcome back to another video with your boy Shifty. We are doing a 49ers 7-round mock draft. The actual NFL draft is only a couple of days away, which is just crazy to think about. One of the better times of the year for football fans, especially during this really long off season. There is just so much to talk about in this mock draft, so we're not going to waste any more time. We're going to run the intro and then get right into it. Before we get into the players who I selected in this mock draft, let's just give a lay of the land of the 49ers as we head into the 2024 NFL draft. Now, we are projected to have 10 selections in the upcoming draft. And when you look at what John Lynch said in his pre-draft press conference, I don't think we're going to be making 10 selections. There's just no way that 10 rookies are going to make this roster, number one. But number two, I think that they are a little bit underwhelmed by just the amount of talent in this draft. They have 22 players with a first-round draft grade. I think it was 180 players with a draftable grade. So I think what you're going to see is a little bit more quality over quantity, and that will be reflected in my mock draft. You see a couple of times here where we are going to trade up. Now, with this mock draft, I think this is a mock draft where this is kind of the direction that I would go, not necessarily what I think the 49ers will do, but obviously with my rationale, it's going to be what I think is best for the 49ers. So who knows, maybe it will line up somewhat with what John Lynch is thinking. So there are 3 trades that I executed in this mock draft. You're going to see them on the screen right now, but let me very quickly walk you through each one of them and my rationale behind those 3 trades. So the first one is pick 31 and 215, traded to the Las Vegas Raiders for 44 and 77. Now the Raiders, I have them trading back up into the first round to take a quarterback. I'm thinking Michael Penix Jr. They have a pick early in the draft. They can get an impact player there. They have Aiden O'Connell and Gardner Minshew on their roster at quarterback. That's just nothing to be too excited about. So you get a player, young player coming out of college like Michael Penix, put up some really crazy big numbers there. They have some weapons in Las Vegas, so I think this would be a good building block for the Raiders moving forward. The next trade, we have pick 63 and 132. We're going to trade that for pick 57 with the Buccaneers. Now, why would the Buccaneers do this trade? Well, they actually don't have any picks between 125 and 220. So to get another pick in that range, they only move down 6 spots in the second round, and they pick up a 4th round pick. So I think that makes some sense for the Buccaneers. Then you look at the third trade, and that's going to be pick 77, which we got from the Raiders, and pick 135, our other 4th round comp pick, to pick 70. We're going to trade that for pick 70 from the New York Giants. Now, why are the Giants doing that trade? Well, they only have 6 picks in the draft, so maybe they're going to want to have a little bit more draft capital. They only move down 7 spots in the 3rd round, and they pick up another 4th round pick. The Giants don't have a pick between 107 and 166, so to get another player right smack in the middle between that really long time where they wouldn't be selecting, I think makes a lot of sense. So let me just very quickly, again, we're going to get into the draft right about now, but let's just go over the picks that we do have. So we have 44, we have 57, 70, 94, 124, 176, 211, and 251. Now coming up next will be the players who I've taken in this mock draft. Thank you for checking it out. With the 44th pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the 49ers select defensive tackle Michael Hall Jr. out of Ohio State. He's 6'2", 299, relative athletic score of a 9.57, and that really shows on tape. He's able to break through offensive lines, be disruptive in the backfield, and he's going to be someone who's playing along some really talented defensive tackles. Javon Hargrave, Malik Collins, Jordan Elliott, Kevin Givens. Got great coaching from Chris Kocurek, and I think a really good thing about this pick is that when you look at the future of the 49ers, and cap space is going to be an issue with, we're going to be paying Brandon Ayuk crazy money, Brock Purdy's going to get insane money, so this could potentially give us a lot of flexibility at the end of next season, where we do have an out on Javon Hargrave's contract. So ideally, you have Michael Hall Jr., who can get some decent snaps in his rookie year, and then really move forward, progress next year. That allows Hargrave to be a bit more expendable and give us some cap flexibility moving forward. But I think he's a great fit for this defense. Love his game, and I think this would be just a great pick for the 49ers at this spot. With the 57th pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, I have the 49ers taking maybe my favorite prospect in the draft. Not the best, but maybe my favorite. And that is cornerback Mike Sanderstill out of Michigan. 5'9", 182. He's a nickel back through and through. A captain of the Michigan Wolverines defense. He forced turnovers. He's always in the right place at the right time. Reminds me a little bit of when we had K'Wan Williams, although I think Sanderstill has the ability just to be so much better. I think he'd be a perfect fit for what we do here in San Francisco. He's a day one starter, and also it allows us to keep Deommodore Lenoir on the outside, but someone who I'm just such a fan of his game. I think he's just a perfect fit, again, for what we do in San Francisco. I think this would be a slam dunk home run pick for the 49ers. Couldn't be more excited about this one. With the 70th pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, I have the 49ers taking safety Javon Bullard out of Georgia. He is a player the 49ers have met with. I think he's a great fit for this defense, and I think there are some question marks at the safety position. Before we get into that, let's talk a little bit more about Bullard. When I watch him play on that Georgia defense, he just reminds me of a younger Tashawn Gibson. I don't know, just something about it. He's just like a straight line guy, just not afraid to hit people, really effective, kind of knows where to be, right place at the right time. I just really like his game, and I think he'd be a perfect fit opposite of Jair Brown. Now look, the big question mark I think at safety that we do have is the status of Talanoa Hufanga. Tore his ACL. He's coming back from that injury. We're not 100% sure how he's going to look, although we know how much of a, just a competitive guy that Hufanga is. I think he'll come back and be healthy, but he's going to be in the last year of his deal. So are we going to want to pay him $15-20 million long term a year after this coming season, when we have to pay Brock Purdy and we're going to have to pay Brandon Ayuk and other players' contracts are coming up too? So I think this gives us a lot of flexibility moving forward. Also, the good thing is that Bullard wouldn't necessarily be forced into start at safety right away. That is, unless we feel like Hufanga would have to go on the PUP list. But I like this pick a lot for the 49ers. Maybe won't have a massive impact in 2024, but I think long term it just gives us a lot of flexibility at the safety position. And also that's a position where we have some depth, but it's not the greatest depth. So I really do like this pick for the 49ers. Great fit, fills a potential future need for the 49ers as well. With pick 94 in the 2024 NFL Draft, I have the 49ers taking offensive tackle Kyren Amageji out of Yale. I think this would be a fantastic pick for the 49ers and a really good fit for the 49ers. Now, why do I say that? You look at his size, which is just 99th percentile, just super, like the length, the ability, the athleticism. I think it just works exactly what the 49ers look for in a left tackle. Good news is he wouldn't have to start right away. You have Trent Williams back for at least one, maybe 2 more years, but at least 1 more year. So Amageji is not going to be forced into action right away. I do think McKivitz is going to hold down that right tackle spot. The fact that we gave McKivitz a 1-year, $7 million extension seems to me that the 49ers are comfortable with that. But Amageji gets at least a year to develop. He did have some injury issues at Yale, but during this year, he can really build up his muscle, build up his strength with our strength and conditioning coaches, get the offense down, get the technique and what we ask for our offensive linemen down, and come 2025 or 2026, he can ideally just be the successor to Trent Williams. So this isn't a pick that's going to really help us out in 2024, but I think it's a pick that long-term would make a lot of sense for the San Francisco 49ers. Now, the next pick at 124 will be in a similar vein. We're going to stay on the offensive line. So with pick 124 in the 2024 NFL draft, I have the 49ers taking center Tanner Bortolini out of Wisconsin. He's a guy where you look at him and just the athletic profile, again, just fits what the Niners do through and through. I think what you're going to see is week 1 of the 2024 season, it's going to be Jake Brendel starting. Shanahan always kind of leans a little bit more towards those veteran guys at the center position because it's just so crucial in this offense. But you have Bortolini there. You look at what he can do. He's been a longtime starter at Wisconsin, very athletic. You give him a year to get the offense down, get the protection calls down, all of that good stuff. In 2025, then you have Bortolini start at center. There is an out in Jake Brendel's contract after the 2024 season. So then you can just have Bortolini slide in, and then you have a starting center for at least the next 3 years after that, and who I think would be a great fit for what we do, and also would really help to give us a little bit of cap flexibility by being able to move on then from Jake Brendel. I think this would be a great move for the 49ers. With pick 176 in the 2024 NFL draft, I have the 49ers taking wide receiver Ainias Smith out of Texas A&M. I think at this point it will be a great selection for the 49ers for a couple of reasons. I think Ainias could ultimately be the long-term answer at slot, going to take over for Jawan Jennings after he leaves in 2024. Ainias is a guy with a really solid route runner, being able really nimble, really quick, which I think is so important in that slot position. Despite his smaller size, well, especially compared to Jawan Jennings, he's a very willing blocker. He has some position versatility. Back in 2020 at Texas A&M, played a bunch of snaps at running back, so that definitely opens some things up for, trick plays, things of that nature, being able to move him around a little bit, but also a ton of value with regards to punt return and kick return. I know we signed Trent Taylor for a 1-year deal, but I think he'll probably be on the practice squad or end up just being cut. Chris Conley's a 1-year solution. Danny Gray has shown us nothing so far. So I think beyond, and then Jawan Jennings, again, I think he will leave the 49ers after the 2024 season for bigger money elsewhere. So after Ayuk and Debo, tends to look pretty thin, especially when you look beyond 2024. So I think a great pick for now where he can contribute on special teams as a returner, and a great pick for the future where he can be that slot receiver and then also, again, has that position versatility. Ainias Smith, pick 176, slam dunk, I think, for the 49ers. With pick 211 in the 2024 NFL Draft, I have the 49ers taking tight end Tip Ryman out of Illinois. Now, I think Tip could ultimately be a really ideal replacement for a guy like Charlie Werner, who's moved on to the Atlanta Falcons. You look at Tip, he is a very willing and a very solid blocker at the tight end position. He is someone who also scored really highly with regards to his athleticism, in workouts. He never really got a major opportunity in terms of receiving at Illinois. Last year, about 200 receiving yards, 3 touchdowns. But I think if you came to San Francisco, his ideal job and goal would be to basically be that Charlie Werner type blocker, but also have that athleticism to maybe develop as a receiver better than what Werner did. And he has the skill set, he has the natural athleticism to be a better receiver than Charlie Werner ever was, which isn't saying too much, but I do think this would be a really good fit for the 49ers. We clearly have a need at backup tight end behind George Kittle. Cameron Latou, major question mark, didn't look good last year as a rookie. Braden Willis, major question mark. I think he maybe has some more potential than Latou, but we'll have to wait and see. And then you bring in a guy like Eric Selbert, who's never really done much in the NFL. So we do need some depth at tight end and some competition at tight end. And I think Tip Ryman is a guy who has immediate value as a blocker and then really could, with that athleticism, develop into maybe a decent number 2 tight end down the line. With pick 251 in the NFL Draft, I have the 49ers taking linebacker Jordan McGee out of Temple. McGee is a guy who fits the profile of what the 49ers look for at the linebacker position. over 6'1". He has the size. He has the athleticism that we like to see at that linebacker position. Can go sideline to sideline. A lot of things for sure to clean up in his game, and that's why he's going towards the end of the 7th round. But I think it would be good to bring in some competition at that position. We have Dre Greenlaw coming back from an Achilles tear. He's going to be a free agent soon. Do we want to pay him? You know, we can only pay so many players top money. I don't know if that's going to happen. Devondre Campbell, 1-year deal. Jalen Graham, D. Winters have potential, and add more competition there. So long term, maybe the position in the future beside Fred Warner looks a little bit more bright. You'd like to think that this competition could bring out the best, and you'd also like to think that between Winters, Graham, and now McGee, one of those guys might be able to develop into a reliable starter beside Warner from 2025, 2026, and beyond. But there you have it, guys. Those are my 8 picks in this mock draft. Let me very quickly throw out some names as possible undrafted free agent targets. Frank Gore Jr. out of Southern Miss. I think we'd all love to see another Gore playing for the 49ers. Storm Duck, the cornerback out of Louisville. Fantastic name. I mean, one of the better names in the draft. Also someone the 49ers did have conversations with and would be a fit at cornerback for competition there. Braden McGregor, the edge player out of Michigan, just a real hustle player out of Michigan that you like to have at edge. And then Trey Knox, tight end out of South Carolina. Really do like his game, and I think he could be someone who could provide some competition at a tight end position that there are also a lot of question marks at. But there you have it, guys. That is my final mock draft for the 2024 draft season. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Let me know where you maybe would have gone in different directions, what you think of my picks. Yeah, I just love doing mock drafts, love the whole draft process, and I could not be excited for Thursday night. Well, for me, it'll be very early Friday morning to see how it all ends up shaking out, and over the coming days just to see how the draft shakes out. Ideally, I do think the 49ers will take the approach of maybe a little bit more quality over quantity, but that remains to be seen. I can't wait to see what John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan and the whole group have up their sleeve. But thank you very much, guys, for checking out this mock draft. Hope you enjoyed. If you did, drop a like on the video. Again, leave those comments below. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And thank you so much for watching. Before I head out, you know I'm going to say 2 things. The butt counts, and I'll catch you guys on the flip side.